So it looks like we're finally here, or at least we will be on Thursday the 16th, as we will finally get the Switch 2 reveal. That's apparently what the big rumor going around is, and it's relatively well documented, so it's probably going to happen. Honestly, I'm confident enough in that I'm going to say here on the channel that I believe that it is going to happen. That most likely, either by the time this video comes out or even tomorrow, as in Wednesday, we will get a message from Nintendo saying, hey, tune in for a small presentation. And I don't believe it's going to be like a big presentation like we're used to at Directs or anything like that. No, in fact, the majority of people tend to think that this is just going to be like a bigger commercial, maybe a 3-minute spot focusing mainly on the hardware, showing like what it can do, what its capabilities are to an extent, giving us like a little peek behind the curtain, but nothing major. I don't think that they're going to go into any great length about how powerful it is or what its capabilities in total are. So I figure let's take the time to kind of go over what we think we already know, what we're probably going to find out, and also going into like what we hope we see or what we hope we don't see, some concerns and whatever, just talk about what all could be the Switch 2. But before we get into this, please hit that like and subscribe button, help this channel grow, because if not, I'm gonna feel like a loser and owe my therapist even more money. Anyway, as we get into Thursday, and I do believe it is going to be Thursday the 16th that we get the long commercial talking about the Switch 2. I think leading up to this, if you've been interested in the Switch 2, you kind of already have an idea what it's going to look like, what its functionality is. There's even been so many leaked things and images out there, AI images, people 3D printing what they say is basically the Switch 2, that I think we kind of already know a lot about it, even though nothing has been officially confirmed. Even Nintendo themselves not denying what is out there is to be legit, but just saying it's not official. You can already find accessories for the Switch 2. Wood from Beat 'em Ups did a really good video talking about all the stuff that has happened in the last, I don't know, 3 to 4 months. And also 3D printed the Switch 2 based on leaked blueprints that are apparently true, and some of them seem to be legit. In fact, one of the earliest things I heard about the Switch 2 was that the controllers, the Joy-Cons, were not gonna, have the rail system anymore. In fact, it's gonna be more like a snap or a magnet, and that seems to be true. It seems to be that there is more of a consensus that you will kind of, like I say, either magnetically or maybe there'll be a click that you'll put the Joy-Con on just by pressing it into the tablet. You don't have to, use that rail system, which in my opinion, I hope that that's done well, because part of me thinks like, man, if that's a magnetic system that holds it in place, I could see where like a strong jostle or even setting it down might break that magnetic hold. I don't know. Hopefully they've got it figured out. I'm sure they do to an extent, although I would have thought they would have had the analog stick figured out on a Joy-Con, and that didn't happen either. But there's also talk about the Joy-Con themselves having like a little infrared light that's going to replace that scanner that's at the bottom of our Joy-Cons now. The one that like nobody uses, but they were there namely for the health games, and that it could be another way to measure things like your heart rate and whatever else for those health games, or it could actually be kind of a version of a mouse, because there are games like Civilization and Civilization 6 that are rumored for the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2, and they're just easier to play with a mouse. And I think that there's going to be a number of other games that are ported over or that they're going to want interest in. They just don't want to be limited by not having that capability. There's also the dual Type-C plug-in at the very bottom of the tablet and the very top of the tablet. Most of these things have been rumored. Most of us couldn't figure out why they had it, and we still don't really know why, but at least we might find out to an extent. Some people have even based the power capabilities just on the fact that they've seen the motherboard and they could basically kind of figure out what kind of chip would fit in there. And honestly, that's something that really intrigues me, because as a Switch user and somebody who loves the Switch, I am honestly at my wit's end with the Switch, and I haven't been playing it as much as I could have been, and part of it is just because it doesn't compete anymore. I need a more powerful gaming device, especially when I'm doling out $60, $70 for a game, and it seems like we have to pay this Switch tax and also this compromise. Hey, you got it, but it's for the Switch, so it's not going to perform as well. It's not going to be as groundbreaking or look as good. There's going to be some performance issues, but you also had to pay full price, don't get me wrong. And sometimes you have to pay full price for a game that came out years ago. And it's that kind of thing that I've kind of really been soured on with the Switch lately. It doesn't matter even with what type of game it is. I was taken back by like Fantasian having some real like performance issues. This is a game that released on Apple Arcade years ago. Why does it have performance issues? But it does. And this is one of those things that I'm kind of curious about, because what has been surmised is that the actual chipset isn't going to be that powerful. It might be more like a PlayStation 4 Pro or something of that nature. The ROG Ally Steam Deck would be at the maximum of its capabilities. And if that's true, I think that that's a huge mistake. Now, there has been talk that, well, it might be that way as the hardware reads, but it'll have upscaling capabilities, and there'll be these properties in the graphics card that will allow it to upscale. And okay, I don't know exactly what that looks like or what those capabilities are. The reason why I'm interested in it, though, is because of the games that have been leaked to be coming out early 2025, or I'd say mid 2025 and 2026. But we have games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a really good game, but it did come out on the PlayStation 4. But also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been rumored to drop in 2026. And as somebody who's been playing the crap out of that game on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, I can tell you that on the PlayStation 5, it doesn't look very good. Like, it needs the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 Pro. So what is that going to look like for the Switch 2? There's a number of people who are already saying, yeah, it might release, but they're probably going to have it deconstructed a little bit, much like Hogwarts Legacy or something like that. And that's highly possible. But that does seem like a misstep that they're already releasing a dated game, and think about it, by 2026 it'll have been out for 2 years, and it doesn't even play as well as the original for your upgraded system that you're probably going to be paying $70 for. That just makes me wonder, like, why would they even do that? And so it's making me think that this graphics card with the AI upscaling capabilities are able to actually make this game look good for the Switch 2, at least as good as it does like on the PlayStation 5, which is definitely playable. Okay, like I said, there's a world of difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro when it comes to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but you can still play it on the PlayStation 5. But there's other games that have been kind of rumored or leaked that are also coming out. The new Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for one, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and of course the newest one that hasn't released yet. Those are very intensive games. Like, they need so much memory. The graphics are usually done really well, but Ubisoft is going to be flinging games every which way. And in fact, the new one, I believe it's called Shadows, I think that that's supposed to release the same time on the Switch. So it can't really be too much descaling that's going on with that game. You also have the new Metal Gear Solid Delta, they say, is going to be released on the Switch 2, and that game looks amazing. How's the Switch 2 going to play it if it has the same limitations of something like the PS4 Pro? And maybe it's possible that this AI upscaling is just like game changing, and it's going to make us rethink about how we think about the power of gaming and consoles and chipsets and everything else. On the other hand, though, I do fear that Nintendo might release a Switch 2 as basically a portable PlayStation 4 Pro. And I have to say, like, as a gamer myself who spends a good amount of money on gaming, plays a lot of games, I wouldn't really be that interested in a Switch 2 if it's not even as powerful as like a PlayStation 5, which we have to remember the PlayStation 5 is like 4 years old at this point. So if you're bringing something new to market, and again, I think many believe that it's going to actually drop this summer, like June. So you're going to be almost at year 5 of the PS5, and you're telling me it's not as powerful as something that is 5 years old? I mean, obviously, I have this channel, so I'll end up getting it. I'll probably get it day one. But if I was just a regular consumer, I wouldn't really be that excited to spend more money on another console that's already outdated. And you think about what some of the prices have been thrown around at. These same rumors and leaks and everything have pointed to the Switch 2 going for around $450 to $499. And honestly, I don't know why you would do that if its capabilities are that of a PlayStation 4 Pro. Because right now, the PlayStation 5, the core, the original, without the disc drive, but still is like 350, I think, or 370. You could get the PlayStation Portal if you wanted that mobility or to play on the go or the handheld game for like another 200. You're basically paying the same amount for something that's better. I don't know why they would do that. And again, I don't know if that's true. And maybe this whole upscaling thing is just something I'm not very familiar with, which I'm not. But maybe I don't know its capabilities. And maybe when I see some of this in the commercial, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's playing this, that, and the third. But I'm definitely interested in how powerful it is. It does matter to me to a great extent, honestly, especially as someone who's exclusively played on the Switch for the last few years and just feeling like I'm always having to almost make up for it. I'm always having to come up with an excuse for the Switch. Well, it's older. Well, at least it's mobile. At least I can play it on the go. I'm a handheld gamer. That's how I like to game. So that's the trade-off I have to make. But as of recent, that's not the trade-off I have to make anymore. There's a lot of great handheld systems or consoles or accessories that really allow for you to have high quality and be handheld. The other thing that I'm going to be really interested in is the memory, the hard drive space. Like, how much are they really going to be leaning into digital, or are they still going to be relying on like cartridges? Because one thing that I really do love about the Switch compared to almost any other system is I have a huge game catalog, and I feel like physical collecting is just easier or better for the Switch. It's easier to find the games, they seem to be more relevant, and I don't know, there's just something about the physical market being more imposing on the Switch than it is on any other console or any other system. So I'm kind of curious, is that going to be one of those things that they're going to continue to lean in on, or are they going to go down the same road that every other system has gone on, where it's going to basically lean towards digital? And don't get me wrong, it already is pretty heavily digital. My digital library alone is gigantic, but for the most part, there's been the opportunity to also get the physical version of a game. I'm not saying that that's not there for the PS5, although it is de-incentivized by the fact that you have to pay more for a disc drive, or even on the Xbox Series X, but like, it just to me seems more relevant and more robust on the Nintendo Switch. But I don't know, I'm curious what your thoughts are. What do you guys think about the Switch? What are some things that you're excited for? What are some things that you're nervous about? Do you agree with me, or do you completely disagree with me? I don't care. Anything and everything in the comment section is much appreciated. Do you think this is all another one of those false flag things, and we're not going to get anything on the Switch 2? I'd be curious about that as well. Anything, though. Like I said, I really do appreciate it. Love interacting with each and every one of you guys. Anyway, take care, everyone. Love y'all. Bye-bye.